Well, howdy. Prospector Paul here. Hey, today we're going to talk about gold rushes and the United States Mint. So we're only going to talk about gold rushes of North America. I'm not going to get back into Egyptian times and Romans and all that. We're just going to deal with the gold rushes in North America, we'll say. So when I say gold rush, what's the first thing you think of? Some images that come to mind, probably the hit TV show on Discovery Channel, where you got Parker Schnabel and Rick Ness and Tony Beats up there in the Yukon and Northwest Territories and Alaska, and just the amazing amounts of gold they find up there, right? Or some of you may conjure up images of the 49ers going across the country and heading to California to strike it rich. Well, what if I told you that the very first gold rush was actually in 1799? Might be a little bit surprised by that. And actually that the California gold rush was the third gold rush. So we'll get into that in just a little bit. Let's talk about the United States Mint. So the United States, when it first was forming, we used a lot of coinage from different countries. We used British halfpennies and pennies and some British silver. We used Spanish silver. We used French coins. We even had coins from India here that was circulating at the time. On top of all that, each of the states, well, I don't want to say each of them, but many of the states, New York, Connecticut, New Hampshire come to mind, they were minting their own coins. And the coinage problem was a mess. So the United States went to the Revolutionary War, and we fought for independence, and we still had the coinage problem. So the Congress of the Confederation in 1782 authorized the mintage of cents. We never made a penny. That was always Britain. We made cents. So we made half cents and cents. So in 1782, Congress of the Confederation enacts this law that says we're going to make coinage here in the United States, and all state coin production is to cease, and we're only going to have one denomination or one mint making these coins. So they start printing these coins in 1787, and they're called the Fujio cent, and they had a lot of problems. There was a lot of different dyes. It turned out to be a bit of a mess too, but we learned a lot. Eventually, Congress in 1792 got their act together, and they enacted the Coinage Act. And we actually built a mint in Philadelphia. Now that mint started producing coins in 1792. There wasn't a lot of them made. 1793 they got their act together, and they really started popping out some nice coins. There was a couple different designs. You had the chain wreath cent, and you had the cap bust cent, and half cents. 1794, much of the same. 1795, they started making dollars and half dollars in Philadelphia. They started making gold coins, and these things are pretty rare and worth a lot of money. They're gorgeous coins. The eagles on the back were really skinny on the silver coins. Kind of my favorite design. I'm an avid coin collector, or used to be, and there was a great passion for early American coinage. And it's just funny how it all ties in with the gold rushes. So like I said, the very first gold rush was 1799, and it was in North Carolina. And that gold rush kind of kept scooting south into South Carolina and ended eventually in Georgia. Gold was officially discovered in Georgia in 1828. So it took them almost 30 years to work their way that south in all these gold fields. Now you're getting all this gold out of the ground, and you need to make it into coinage, right? People in the gold field area, there's not a lot of coinage around. They're trying to purchase goods to get more gold out, and we're using scales. We're trading gold dust and nuggets and things like that. Some scales are legit, most are not. Everybody's profiting off the miners, and there becomes this big clamoring for coinage. It's not safe to move the unstamped gold. You know, it's not made into a coin yet. Not safe to drag it all the way to Philadelphia. So they decide to build mints in the area of the gold fields. And this is a common practice and a theme that's repeated throughout the gold rushes. So in 1838, the United States built 3 mints. They built one in Charlotte, North Carolina, Dahlonega, Georgia, and New Orleans, Louisiana. So the Charlotte Mint minted gold coins only, and they have the mint mark C. And kind of odd, it was on the obverse side, or the head side of the coin, usually above the date. And they made some beautiful and some very rare coins in that mint. The Dahlonega, Georgia Mint produced gold coins only as well, and they put a D on the back, not to be confused with Denver, the current mint. There was some, well, the Dahlonega Mint stopped in 1861, and I believe the Denver Mint started in 1890. So there's a bunch of years in there where the coins could not have been struck, you know, at either mint. It was either one or the other, is what I'm trying to say. Dahlonega, Georgia coins, gold coins only. Some very nice, beautiful, and very rare coins came out of that mint as well. The third mint, like I said, was New Orleans. That went from 1838 to 1861. All 3 of those mints went to 1861. The Civil War ceased production in the mints in the South, right? The Confederates took over the New Orleans Mint, and they stamped some coins using that mint. After the Civil War, New Orleans Mint was out of commission until 1879 after Reconstruction, and it ran until, I believe, 1909. So the next gold rush is the one everybody knows, and a lot of Americans would say is, you know, the first gold rush, and probably Alaska's the second gold rush in America, and it's not true. California was actually the third gold rush, and it started in 1849, and the mint decided to build a branch out in San Francisco, California, and they started production in 1854. Some of the S-mint coins from the early 1850s are very rare. They are also very gorgeous coins. So the San Francisco Mint is still in operation today. They make a lot of the proof sets that people order online, and yeah, they do a lot of Olympic coins, a lot of different things, and they're probably one of the premier mints of the 3 that are still going today, or 4 actually, because West Point's one as well. So California ended up transformed with all the people that showed up from all over the world, and that is probably why they have some of the toughest and strictest environmental laws today. Unfortunately, the miners did a lot of hydraulicking where they stripped the mountain sides of the free material. They used a lot of mercury. They still find mercury in rivers and creeks today, and it's very unfortunate. So the next big gold rush ended up going back to the east, back into Nevada, to a place called the Comstock Lode, and Virginia City, and Gold Hill. There was quite a mix of silver and gold in there. A tremendous amount of silver came out of the ground. It wasn't as known for high quality gold, but there was some good gold ore pulled out of the Comstock Lode. Consequently, the mint built a branch in Carson City. It's a museum today, and the Carson City Mint operated from 1870 to 1893. And as a former collector of Liberty-seated dimes, I know they made some of the rarest coins in U.S. history. I believe the 1870 or 71 Carson City dime, there's like 3 to 5 known. So it's quite the rare little coin. Often thought about getting up to Carson City and doing some metal detecting around the surrounding area. Hopefully somebody lost one of these old buggers and I could find it. That would be a dream come true. The Comstock Lode also revolutionized mining. They came up with something called the square set, and they would literally honeycomb the inside of the mines, making it a lot harder for them to collapse, making it safer for the miners. So after the Comstock Lode, the next gold rush ended up in Colorado, and people flocked there, bringing a lot of the experience that they had from the California and Nevada gold rushes. And consequently, they started finding gold, and the U.S. Mint built a branch in Denver, Colorado, and it started in 1906, and it is still in operation today. They've made some pretty rare coins in the Denver Mint. They made one that was an error, was a 1922 penny. It was supposed to have the Denver Mint on it, but the little D started to get filled in, and on one of the dies with the copper from the pennies, and all of a sudden it started striking 1922 pennies, cents, with no mint mark on it. It filled it in, so it looked like it was a Philadelphia, because Philadelphia never put a mint mark on their coins. Consequently, this is a rarity. It's an error coin. Philadelphia did not produce cents in 1922, and these coins are quite rare. They're very valuable as well. Another one that comes to mind is the 1916 Denver Mercury dime. That one's also quite rare and very valuable. And if I remember right, the 1932 Denver quarter was the key to the set. So Denver's had some pretty amazing coins made there. A lot of silver coins, a lot of copper pennies and stuff, cents made today. Alright, the next two gold rushes happened about 5 years later. One to the north in Montana, and one here to the south in the state I'm sitting in, Arizona. It's absolutely amazing to know that gold was found really right here in my front yard, up on Rich Hill, and in an area known as the Potato Patch, where they found nuggets the size of a fist or a small potato. The gold was easy pickings back then. It's a lot harder today. This ground's been worked pretty darn hard, and miners did their thing. There's been several resurgence since 1864. There was, some miners here in the 1890s, the 1930s during the Depression. Again, the World War II kind of stopped all that stuff, and started to pick back up in the 50s with a little better technology and machinery. The 1970s saw a boom, and yeah, that's kind of where we sit today. So the last gold rush, believe it or not, is the Alaska Gold Rush, or the Klondike, or Northwest Territories, whatever you want to call it. It was another one of those rolling gold rushes. In other words, it started in 1896 in the Klondike, Dawson Creek, Dawson area, Yukon River, and it kept working its way north and west into Alaska, and they just kept finding more and more deposits of gold. And yeah, that was one heck of a boom. The nice thing about the Alaskan Gold Rush, we had cameras back then, so we got some amazing footage of miners trying to get over these mountains and get into Alaska so they could strike it rich and find their glory. And yeah. So the United States Mint never made a branch in Alaska. Denver was the last one. I shouldn't say that. West Point's been the last one. And they make a lot of specialty coins, just silver and gold bullion coins. So the gold rush in Alaska, the boom, it's still going today. It's a tough country. You got 6 months where you can't do anything up there, and probably only 4 months where you can really get to ripping and tearing it up. And that's why that hit series Gold Rush is on TV. Them boys really work their butt off, and they have to take advantage of every minute of daylight. Quite the gold field up there. So the United States Mint decided to build a branch in Oregon. I think they worked on it for about 6 years, and they pulled the plug on it. The building still stands today, but they never minted one coin there. Kind of an interesting side note. I had no idea there was even the consideration of building a mint there, so I learned something while making this little video. Alright, I hope you got a little something out of this video. I know I sure enjoyed making it. It was a very interesting look back at history and how the mint and the gold fields kind of intertwined and made America what it is today. So if you want to help keep the dream alive, check out my Patreon page. You can join the ranks of Tortuga Lisa, Mike from Vendetta Prospecting, and Outdoor Wally. Thank you folks for helping keep the dream alive. I really do appreciate that. Alright, well, it's time to wrap this video up. Hopefully you got something out of it. I know I sure had fun making it. Do me a favor, like, share, and subscribe, and leave me a comment. I love reading your comments. Prospector Paul, out.